Okay, so our speaker today is Dr. Linda Berry. So you know her already because you see her around. But Dr. Linda Berry empowers her patients, students, readers, and listeners to transform stress into fuel to power their lives and dreams. Wisdom born from her own profound healing journey. At just 24, she was paralyzed in an automobile accident and released from the hospital in a wheelchair. Once a modern dancer, choreographer, and purple belt in karate, she learned to walk again using long leg braces and crutches. Ultimately, rising from her wheelchair to become a chiropractor, a nutritionist, a trauma healing specialist. Her knowledge spans from ancient Taoist principles, it's spelled with a T, so I kind of got confused, to cutting-edge medical therapies. Over the past 44 years, Dr. Linda has helped thousands reclaim their health through her private practice. She's also written a best-selling book, Internal Cleansing, multimedia content, and teaching. She has inspired audiences in Thailand and in San Francisco Bay Area and has appeared on NPR, ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox News, and various radio programs. Linda Berry.
Good job. So now you know a little bit about me. I'd like to ask a question so I can learn a little bit about you. How many of you, by a show of hands, would like to live to be 100? All right. And now keep your hands up. If you knew that you could live to be 100 and have your health and be active, are there any more of you who would raise your hands? Yeah, excellent, excellent. So did you ever hear the expression, if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself? Yeah. So today, I'm going to share with you knowledge that I've gained over my 44 years of helping patients to overcome their health challenges and also feel great. And also I have some presents for you. So on the last table in the back, there's a sign-up sheet, and you would need to print your name clearly and give me your email address. The only reason you wouldn't get the PDF of this presentation, that's the sign-up sheet for, is because I couldn't read your writing. So also I have a sheet right here that's got information. It's two-sided. One of them is from the latest issue of the Art magazine on how we can determine our age. There's chronologic and biologic age. I'll talk about that more. And then on the other side is something from the Blue Zones, which we'll be focusing on today, from an interview with Dan Bittner Jr., who found there were 9 commonalities in people who lived in the Blue Zone areas. Has anybody heard of the Blue Zones? Yeah, good. So you're not foreign to it. What I noticed as I looked at this map is that there are no blue zones in extremely cold areas. So I'm so grateful that I chose to live in California. Dan Bittner Sr. is the one who went with National Geographic and a team of doctors and scientists to evaluate areas of the world where people lived to a greater percentage than other areas in their 80s, 90s, and 100s. So you'll see we have one right here in California, in Loma Linda, California. That area is populated primarily by Seventh-day Adventists. And what they found, their secret sauce, was that they ate 10 servings of vegetables a day. Ooh. And they also had community and connection. It was faith-based. And they also walked a lot. On Saturdays, they weren't allowed to drive their cars. Moving over to Nicoa, Costa Rica, in that area, they could go outside of their yard and pick fresh fruit, which is high in nutrients for nourishing their body. But also, they had kind of looser morals than we might expect. They didn't feel like they needed to be monogamous with their mates. We'll go to Icara, to Sardinia, Italy. And in that area, there were a lot of sheep farmers. And they would walk up and down very steep hills. So they were out in nature. They were able to commune with their sheep. And also in that area, for you wine drinkers, they have the wine that has the highest concentration of antioxidant nutrients. which again help to keep them healthy, long living. We'll skip over Greece and then we'll go to Okinawa, Japan. In that area, they have a concept called Hari Achibu. And what that means is eat only until you're 80% full, not totally stuffed. They also did a lot of their own vegetable gardening, grew their own foods. And I just found out from an interview with Dan Bittner Jr. that I listened to, that at the age of 4, the Okinawans match their children up with other children in the area so that they'll grow up through their life with these people that they know intimately, play with, and that support each other. They got their tribe, so to speak. So coming back to Greece, in Greece, they had a combination of all those different factors. And you may be amazed to learn that we have another blue zone in California. It's actually in Santa Rosa. And Paul Newman, who is the corporate sales director for WellQuest, which I guess owns that facility, they invested $20,000. That's what it costs to get the National Geographic team of doctors and scientists to come out and evaluate. They talked to the chef, they looked at their menus, they looked at the activities they had for seniors, their housing situation. And so they were awarded the blue zones as well. So today we're going to look at what takes you away from Health Haven. I'll explain that in a moment. What brings you back to Health Haven. We're going to look at the Healthy Mind Platter. This was developed by Dan Siegel, an MD who's the professor of medicine in UCLA. Then we'll look at My Healthy Plate, because what we eat affects us, of course. Then movement, very important, meditation, and then we'll have a summary. So what you see up here, this is my model for healthcare. At the center is Health Haven. That's where everything's okay. Your body's feeling pretty good. You're not stressed out about a bunch of stuff. Your life's moving forward smoothly. But you see that there's 4 forces, vectors I call them, that take you away from Health Haven. Let's start with the bottom one. That's a crooked man. So one of my mentors, George Goodhart, developed applied kinesiology, which is the non-force technique of chiropractic that I practice, said that structure is function. So we know that if we have achy muscles or joints, that it might be involved with our nerves, but also the digestive system, the respiratory system, the immune system, the cardiovascular or heart and blood system, they all relate to the information coming from the brain down through the nerves and to the body. So if you're all crooked and twisted, it's not only affecting you to have pain in your joints and muscles, but it could also be affecting the rest of your health. That happens why? Why do we have structural stress? Well, posture is one thing. And then there's also birth trauma, accidents as we grow up, motor vehicle accidents, etc. Moving to the next slide, you see on the right, that's representative of the standard American diet, which abbreviated means SAD. And why is the American diet SAD? Well, it's because we eat too much sugar, we have too many refined carbohydrates, maybe the protein that we eat isn't of the highest quality, it might be full of hormones and medications that are given to the animals so that they can be sold on the marketplace. And essentially, just too much food. In 1980, the amount of people that were obese worldwide was only 10%. But now, unfortunately, in the 2020s, it's up to 40%. So that's something that's definitely negatively affecting our health. Looking at the top, you see a woman with too many thoughts in her head. So that creates mental, emotional, and even perhaps spiritual stress. So your work situation, your family situation, we have people here who are working with families, trying to work with their seniors. That can be a very stressful situation, moving people from their homes, of course. So that can also come from when you were young, having people in authority be emotionally abusive. There's sexual abuse, there's weather abuse, people with tsunamis, floods, or also hurricanes can devastate lives and cause a lot of stress. So that takes us away from our center of Health Haven. And then finally, you see the slide, the image at the right, there's a bunch of murky atmosphere, so pollution that's in the environment, and also you'll see high tension wires. In the last 10 years, we're exposed to 16 quintillion times more radiation than we were just 10 years ago. That's 16 zeros. And that radiation is foreign to our human anatomy, so it causes damage. Plus, in my book, Internal Cleansing, I wrote about areas where there's high tension wires near schools. And in those schools, children actually have a much higher percentage of cancer, unfortunately. So that's another factor which takes us away from Health Haven that, we can't get away with. The chemical industry, guess who gets to evaluate whether new chemicals that are produced, there's 1,000 every year, are safe? Well, it's the chemical industry themselves. How objective can that be? And when studies are done to check about the negative effects of these airborne environmental toxins, they don't consider the other 999 chemicals in combination with their chemical. So we're flooded with poisons through our water, through our air, through our food. So let's move on to something happier and some solutions. So starting again at the bottom, that's me adjusting one of my patients. So as I said, I do non-force chiropractic care. There are lots of chiropractors in the Bay Area that you can avail yourself of. I'm a Medicare provider. Many are Medicare providers and also Blue Shield provider. And of course, physical therapists help to balance the musculoskeletal system. Massage can be very helpful. Also, there's Pilates studios everywhere, and online there's programs that you can check into for free, maybe. I enrolled in Coach Tyler's WeShape.com program. I like his program because you take a questionnaire talking about your capabilities and your injuries. So that's considered, and also whether you slept well and whether you're feeling good before they upload for you an exercise program for that day. There's options for stretching and also for working out. Okay, who else? Acupuncturists can be very helpful for musculoskeletal conditions as well. Then looking to the right, we see that's the healthy foods. You'll notice that there's lots of colors. We'll talk about that in a moment. High quality protein. I'd like you all to look at your palms in your hand. We should be having the thickness and dimension, this much protein with every meal. Why is protein important? Because your body's made from protein. Very important. You also need high quality fats. So they're represented there, avocados, olive oil, and also coconut oil are good sources of healthy fats. Why are fats important? Because our brain, the gray matter portion of our brain, is 40% fat. And also the coating on our nerves are fat. And also our hormones originate in fat. So this idea that we have to cut fat out of our diet is actually not really good for our health. And there's also some high quality grains in there. Now looking up to the top one, contentment. So that's sort of the end game, right? I mean, things can be going on that are crazy, but if we can stay centered and contented, then we're way ahead of the game, less stress. How do we get to the place of contentment? I'll teach you a little trick right now. If you exhale longer than you inhale, so say it takes 4 beats for you to inhale, if you exhale to 6 beats, that automatically turns on the part of your nervous system that's for resting, digesting, and relaxing. And that's the phase, the parasympathetic phase, when we're getting healed the best. Also, therapy is very good. I'm a trauma healing therapist, and there are different types of trauma healing. The kind that I practice and other practitioners in the area is called somatic experiencing. Trauma can get stuck in your body and create symptoms and discomfort, and also organ problems, digestive disturbances. So working with a therapist, prayer is also helpful. Talking to friends is helpful to get you to a place of contentment. And then in this left here to me, right to you, I am a disclosure here, a distributor of pulsed electromagnetic frequency devices. This one that I'm wearing is called the Bubble. It has frequencies from 0 to 1,000, which you can search online and set to what a healthy heart's frequency is, etc. And then up above it is a mat. It's called the cloud mat that was developed by Dr. Wolf Kafka, who created pulsed electromagnetic activation device. There's 5 different options: relax, balance, energize, synchronize, and transform. People who have them in their home can choose, what do I feel like I need a little bit more of? Do I need a little bit more energy? Do I need to relax? And there are many people in the Bay Area who have those devices, and also there are things that people bring to their home so they can do their own self-care. And now I'm very excited because I'm moving into the realm of regenerative healthcare, and that has to do with extracellular vesicles that are packed with repair molecules. So if you'd like any information about that, you can certainly check in with me. Next slide, please, Lorena. Okay, so here's the Healthy Mind Platter. As I said, this is developed by Dr. Dan Siegel. You see there's 7 different things up there. What I feel is most important out of those is sleep. As we age, as your clients age, we tend to have less deep sleep. That's 25% of the time we sleep. So deep sleep is something that allows us to repair and regenerate. If we're not getting deep sleep, then we're not repairing and generating. So that adds to our aging and brings us closer to the grave. A tip for getting good sleep: melatonin is a sleep hormone. And if you go outside, simply go outside, gaze at the horizon, not directly at the sun, of course, for 10 to 15 minutes before 10 a.m., it helps to set your levels of melatonin that you'll need for sleeping comfortably that night. Also, you want to have a dark room. You want to stay away from electronic devices before you go to sleep. If you have a bed warmer, turn that off. That's alternating current, which is negative. Our bodies don't like alternating current. We operate on direct current. So you want to turn those off before you go to sleep. Oh, goodness. All right, so you'll see also we need downtime, relaxing, playtime. That creates happy hormones. Time in, that's meditation. Connection is very important. Elderly people, as you all know, you work with elderly populations, have a lot of isolation. So we want to have them connected, as many of you are doing with your clients, and if you have patients. Looking at focus, as the memory care people in here know, when we learn, when we continue to actively engage our brain, that helps to slow down or prevent, maybe even possibly, dementia. And physical activity, so there's a condition called sarcopenia, that's loss of muscle mass. And loss of muscle mass is one of the greatest indicators that we're getting close to death. So we want to do physical movement. We'll talk about that in a moment. So this is the Healthy Mind Platter. The different colors are because different colors represent different nutrients. So you want to eat from the rainbow. You want to have 50% of your plate filled with high water content vegetables. That's things like lettuce, sprouts, broccoli, green beans, et cetera, et cetera. Looking at the upper left corner, that's high quality protein. Whey protein has the highest protein efficiency ratio. Skipping over to the right for the grains, quinoa is an excellent source of protein. It has the highest protein efficiency ratio, 40% compared to other grains, which are only 14%. And that's particularly important for vegetarians. Vegetarians are lacking the amino acid creatine in their diet because they're not eating meat or fish, and that can cause muscle mass, which we already talked about being a problem. And they also are deficient in B12. When you eat grains, 1/4% of your plate, sometimes it causes people gas or bloating, so some people don't even tolerate grains. They're not that essential for our health because vegetables and a few servings of fruits a day provide us with the carbohydrates that give us the sugars and the energy that we need to power our brain and our activities. So this is movement. There are lots of different kinds of movement. Moving actively for 10 minutes several times a day is as good as doing a big workout. Strength training, of course, helps us build muscles to keep our bones healthy and also to keep us upright moving through space. Then there's flexibility training. Most of us, we're on computers, we're on iPads and phones, we're eating, we're carrying things, so we're shortening the muscles in front and weakening the muscles in back. So we all need to strengthen our backs and stretch our fronts. For flexibility, it also helps us be more mobile so that we can bend and lift and turn and twist without injuring ourselves. Then there's also cardiovascular endurance activity. So that's things like walking for a half an hour, going on your hikes, riding on your bicycle, swimming, etc. So that's very important to keep our heart and our circulatory system healthy. So what are the benefits of exercise? It helps our circulation. It helps our mood. It helps our cognitive function. It also helps with vitality, with giving us more energy. So you'll see in my summary, this is one of the important ones. So meditation. I am a certified meditation instructor with the International Healing Tao. If you scan that QR code or go to the website, if you get the PDF, you can download this registration for it, and my virtual assistant will send it to you. It's my voice. Rick Hansen, who many of you may know, said, oh, her voice. He sent it out to his mailing list because he was so impressed with that meditation. It helps you to encapsulate stress, get it out of your body, and replace it with good, happy feeling. Only 15 minutes. So in summary, the most important things are just 3. Keep moving, eat healthy, and find inner peace. And I might say to create inner peace, because as we engage our brain and focusing on things that are good, it actually helps to change our nervous system and brings us inner peace. So the next slide that you'll see is my contact information, and it's of course on all the information down there. But I would like to end by singing a song that comes from the Sufi tradition. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Thank you so much.